We are back, and we've got some new reaction to the controversial comments from the president of fast food chain Chick-fil-A. Dan Cathy told a Christian news organization earlier this month that Chick-fil-A is, quote, very much supportive of the family, the biblical definition of the family unit. He also said this in a radio interview.
I think we're inviting God's judgment on our nation when we shake our fist at him and say, you know, we know better than you as to what constitutes a marriage. And I pray God's mercy on our generation that has such a prideful, arrogant attitude to think that we would, the audacity to try to redefine what marriage is all about.
Now, that got a whole lot of attention. His comments sparked strong reaction on both sides of the issue, including praise from the National Organization of Marriage. Some particularly sharp criticism came from Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel, a city where Chick-fil-A wants to expand. They want to put in 2 new stores. Here's what Emanuel said.
Chick-fil-A's values are not Chicago values. They're not respectful of our residents, our neighbors, and our family members. And if you're going to be part of the Chicago community, you should reflect the Chicago values.
There you go. So Chick-fil-A released a statement saying this: the Chick-fil-A culture and service tradition in our restaurants is to treat every person with honor, dignity, and respect, regardless of their belief, race, creed, sexual orientation, or gender. Going forward, our intent is to leave the policy debate over same-sex marriage to the government and to the political arena. So let's talk about this a little bit. Fair and balanced debate. Chris Hahn is a former aide to Senator Chuck Schumer and Fox News contributor. And Ford O'Connell is a former McCain-Palin presidential campaign advisor. Thank you so much to both of you for being here.
Thank you, Martha.
This has obviously sparked a ton of controversy. And I actually want to start by proving that to some extent and showing you what the little snippet of the conversation that came up yesterday on The View. Let's watch.
This is our country. And I believe, you know what, if we knew Chick-fil-A is a Christian organization, that's what they stand for. They don't ban you from going there to eat. It's a freedom of religion. If you don't support it, good, for goodness sakes, don't go in there and buy that chicken. Go to KFC. But to say, you know, Rahm Emanuel, to say Chicago doesn't share your values, that's not true.
It's really interesting how this has come down, Ford. And a lot of folks are supporting his right to say what he said, and they're arguing, it seems, for the market forces to sort of let themselves play out here.
Hey, that's absolutely right. Look, Rahm Emanuel is conflating the law with liberal outrage. Dan Cathy's views are basically irrelevant under the First Amendment. So unless Chick-fil-A is engaged in the discrimination in hiring or the discrimination in the public accommodation of its customers, it's going to be real hard, because all he's really doing is flapping his wings, because under the First Amendment, what's good for the goose is also good for the chicken.
So go ahead, Chris.
Well, I want to first thank you. That's the most I've ever watched of The View in my life.
We'll try to keep it in very limited increments like that.
And I basically agree. You know, listen, the bottom line is government can't say you can't come in because you believe a certain way, but government can and should enforce any discriminatory practices that may or may not be going on there. And the public has the right to say, look, this guy's spending the money we spend at Chick-fil-A on causes we don't agree with, so we're not going to shop there. We're not going to eat there. We're going to go somewhere else.
Well, you know, Chris, Chris, that's absolutely right. What's also ironic is, given our need for jobs in this country, and, you know, frankly, Chick-fil-A's balance sheet and my love of waffle fries, I don't understand why Rahm Emanuel's not opening his arms.
Yeah.
He
Well,
should.
Ford,
this is good, and if
Ford,
people don't want to
friend,
go there, don't go there.
Ford, if your love of waffle fries outweighs your love for social justice, then by all means, go eat at Chick-fil-A and let some of your dollars go against social justice.
Hold on. Chris, I want to ask you to address the jobs issue, because according to one number I read, they said it would be about 97 jobs in Chicago would be brought in by these 2 Chick-fil-A establishments. Should that not also be a concern for Rahm Emanuel, and let people decide? If you want to work there, work there. If you don't, certainly you shouldn't.
I don't think any number of jobs should outweigh your willingness and your belief in certain issues. If you feel strongly in marriage equality, as Rahm Emanuel does and as I do, then no amount of jobs matter if this money being earned there is going to be going against this cause. That said, again, the state can't just say this guy has said bad things. It's if he does bad things, if he's discriminating against gays and lesbians, either in the employment arena or as customers, then the city has a right and a responsibility to step in and make sure that those discriminations are dealt with.
I want to show you guys a scene that played out in Laguna Hills, California. I haven't seen this video yet, read about it this morning, but let's take a look at it. This is a protest that happened outside of Chick-fil-A establishment there. The protesters were telling customers who were coming towards this restaurant that they should go elsewhere. So this has obviously stirred up a lot of discussion on this big issue. Another thing I want to just mention and get your thoughts on, Mayor Menino in Boston wrote a letter to a property owner, and we'll go to you first on this, Ford. And he basically said, you know, Boston would prefer if you not rent your property that you own out to this establishment. Should he be in the middle of that discussion, Ford?
Absolutely not. Mayor Menino's got plenty of problems, particularly the high unemployment and other issues in Boston. Let the free market play out. Mayor Menino needs to step out of this and let the market forces take place, and frankly, let the owner make their decision, because the First Amendment, Mr. Cathy's views have nothing to do with it. It's how the property owner feels.
Yeah,
that's
where some of this outrage comes from, Chris. And it's not, you know, I think if Mayor Menino or if Rahm Emanuel stood up and said, I personally disagree with what Dan Cathy said,
right.
I don't think anybody would have a problem with that. But when you start to step into the zone of discouraging a business from opening in your city based on that belief, when they haven't, when there's no proven discrimination, as you pointed out, by employees or for customers, are they in some dangerous territory there?
Well, Rahm didn't discourage it officially. There was an alderman in Chicago that did. And I think the mayor, what he did was not any official discouraging. In fact, he backtracked a little bit yesterday from those statements. What he did was say, look, here's my opinion. We don't want these guys here. Do with it as you will. You're going to get no help from me getting anything done for this
Chris, let me
franchise.
add on to that. Mayor Menino in Boston
is
is clearly trying to score points with constituents in a liberal stronghold. What else do you expect from a city where
a politician trying to score points with constituents? Oh my goodness, does that ever happen anywhere?
But at the expense of free enterprise and the First Amendment, that's where we got to draw the line,
it's the First Amendment on both sides. Rahm Emanuel and the mayor of Boston have a right and a responsibility to speak their mind on this issue as well, and they should, and as often as they can and as clearly as they can, state that we want equality for all in America.
This is good for the chicken,
the First
Chris.
Amendment is alive and well here in America's newsroom, and you guys have been heard and have spoken, and we appreciate that.
Watch those fries, Ford. They'll kill you.
Chris, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Ford, with that nutritional comment. We leave you with that. Thanks, guys.